If it hasn't been spoiled already, or the reason why you've probably clicked this thumbnail is because we're playing Poppy, Keeper of the Hammer. Poppy's legend ability is when you hold, gain 1 experience, spend 3 experience, and tap her, or exhaust her, to draw a card. Experience is a new game mechanic in this set where you can earn experience to do different things. You can track it with a different card, normally just tracked by dice, but your experience is kept throughout the entire game and you start at 0. Certain cards have conditions to gain experience, like if you see the keyword hunt, it means that when they conquer, they get experience, or when they hold, they get experience. That might come up later, but in this deck, you don't really play much of the experience engine. Eventually, when you do get enough experience, you just tap the legend to draw a card. This deck does use a lot of draw power. You guys know me by now. I love to draw cards. Okay, so we'll start off with the Poppy Legend. The Poppy Legend that you play is Poppy Paragon. It's the orange Poppy. She has Deflect. She's a 5/5. She doesn't require power, but that's why she's a little bit more expensive. When you play her, if an opponent scores within 3 points of the victory score, you can ready her and give her 3 experience. Or you can gain 3 experience. This isn't as useful. It's just a great turn 3 unit. She has Deflect. She's annoying. She can be persistent. It's useful in the game plan, but not part of the game winning conditions for this deck. Let's get into the battlefields. Because this deck is kind of like a troll deck, kind of like a not troll deck, we do play Aspirant's Climb. This is my world's Aspirant's Climb. Shout out Brian. This just means the game point win condition is 9 points instead of 8. You guys should know that by now. We play Vaults of Helia. This is new to set 3. When you hold here, your non-token units cost 1 or more to play this turn. So if your opponent is on this battlefield, you can have them pay an extra just to play their units, which don't really apply to you because you have other ways to play your units. And for the third trap battlefield, Sigil of the Storm, when you conquer here, recycle 1 of your runes. The other 2 battlefields outside of Aspirant's Climb are battlefields that you probably don't want to play on, unlike the Ivern deck profile, which you can go check out my previous videos. These are 2 trap battlefields that don't necessarily harm you as much. Sigil you don't mind conquering every now and then because you ramp so much in this deck that it's almost impossible to, you will constantly be ramping cards back out of your rune. You will constantly be using the Sigil ability because you'll always probably be at max runes anyways. This deck is pretty nuts for ramping. It's a pretty standard lineup, but we have to show off the brand new 6 and 6 body runes and order runes. I found it to be quite balanced with this because when we do have to play some of these cards, we have to use some of the power for their conditions. This deck doesn't really generate gold outside of like 1 or 2 cards. So let's take a look at these runes. I don't know how well you can see them. I'll probably show a highlight right here in this section where I show off the quality of the new body rune. And then I'm going to show off the quality of the new order rune. I think the thing I dislike the most about the order rune is because all the texture is only in the middle part and then the top corners. There isn't really any texture on the card itself, unlike the other runes. Like for example, the blue one, the mind rune, is like the entire open space of the card. Okay, so let's get into the deck. We can start with the units. There aren't a lot of units in here, but you'll see why. We play 3 Forge of the Future. Shout out to my friend Harvey, and shout out to Veggies for basically showing me the proof is in the pudding when it comes to this card. Forge of the Future, when you play this, play a 1 recruit token to your base. You can also kill this gear. It's a gear. Recycle up to 4 cards from the trashes. So if you need more cards back in your deck, you can always spin them back. But Forge of the Future just gets you a 2-drop 1 unit that you're going to use just to sprint at battlefields. This is an Aurora deck, so we play busted cards like this. Harness Dragon is by far one of the coolest cards to play in the deck. When you play me, kill an enemy unit, he comes in for free, so you don't ever have to worry about the 8. But if you have to, it's basically like a yellow mind splitter. 6 might, which isn't that great. It's not that big, but there are other things that you can use this card for. Something that's been brand new to this set that I did appreciate in my pre-rift, which is in another video you can check out too. 2 of these Two of these Rift Heralds we pulled as an alternate art. It's an absolute beauty of a card. Rift Herald, the base art, also pretty okay. Rift Herald says, when I move to a battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your main deck. You may reveal a unit from among them and draw it, recycle the rest. Death Knell, play a unit from your hand to your base, ignoring its energy cost. This is super relevant because in an Aurora deck, where sometimes you may draw a unit like Elder Dragon or Harness Dragon, if you just throw a Rift Herald at a battlefield and it dies, or you play a kill spell like this deck has and it dies, you can just free drop a Harness Dragon or an Elder Dragon just by paying the power. And like we said previously, you're always channeling runes. I've seen some really cool technical play with Rift Herald and I've really enjoyed testing it out myself. I couldn't find a reason to play Otacon in this deck because he has his own ready conditions and his own attacking conditions, but there was a world where I did test at least one or two. For now, it's just Rift Herald, Harness Dragon, and the last big monster, Elder Dragon. Elder Dragon, man oh man, the Aurora card. The reason why people think Aurora is so busted these days is because Elder Dragon does an amazing amount of stuff. Any amount of your damage is enough to kill enemy units, which is basically Death Touch for my Magic players. When you play me, choose up to one enemy unit at each location, deal 1 to them. So you deal 1 to a battlefield, 1 to a battlefield, and 1 to a base. And that's on play effect. This can be not so fasted, but you play multiples of them. I think it was really ironic that we ended up pulling 2 Alt Art Rift Heralds and 2 Alt Art Elder Dragons. So I have like 2 instead of 1, but gosh, the art on this Elder Dragon is by far my favorite art of the entire set. It's absolutely gorgeous. That's it for the units. On to the spells. There are a lot of spells in this deck, and there are actually quite a few gears, so let's get through them. First things first, Sacrifice. Sacrifice is a great new card from this set as well. It's a 1-cost reaction. You'll see this in LeBlanc and other decks. Draw 2 and channel 1 Exhausted. It's a 1-cost reaction that as an additional cost to play this, you can kill a friendly Mighty unit. So a Mighty unit is anything with 5 or more, so you're probably killing a Herald or you're probably killing a Harness Dragon and recycling it anyways. But if you do, you can draw 2 and channel 1 Exhausted, which is an amazing form of draw and ramp. I love this card. Next, we play 1 Flurry of Blades. There's a second copy in the side. I like this card, especially with Elder, because you can trigger deal 1 to all units at battlefields, which triggers the Elder ability to kill everything. It's kind of like Bellows Breath, but for orange. Definitely useful. In my testing of Aurora Pure, I've just hated drawing this card without having Elder at the time, and having it just in my hand doing nothing for a couple turns has been relatively annoying. This set seems, or this meta currently seems to be all about hand knowledge. Sabotage is another amazing orange card that you play for cheap. You can rip cards that are counter to your win conditions or problematic in ways that might stop you or prevent you, like gear removal. You want to get rid of those cards ahead of time, so you're choosing a non-unit card from it. Realistically, if it's not an Akshan or like an Adaptron, you can get rid of it and force them to recycle it. Speaking of forcing people to recycle, this is something that's a little different. This is Poppy's signature spell called Keeper's Verdict. It chooses an enemy unit at the battlefield. Its owner places it on the top or the bottom of their main deck. So they get the choice to either recycle it or put it at the top, but it's kind of like how it acts in the game. It just like hammer knocks them off the field directly back to their deck, which is better than putting it in their hand, honestly, and puts that on the top of the deck so they draw it next turn and you have hand knowledge. Wow, what a great card. There's one more on the side. Standard Aurora deck situation, we play 3 Mobilize. You can't play this deck without Mobilize. It's a great 2-drop to see. You want to see this in your mulligan. You want to see Aurora. If you don't see this, you can play the other cards. I think that's what this deck comes to best, is that if you don't see your Aurora cards, this deck functions as a better version because it plays as a better version. Speaking of playing, we play 3 Confront. Units you play this turn enter ready and you draw a card, which means that when you play Herald or when you play other things, when you play things off of Herald, especially from Herald dying, it means you can swing the Herald in, the unit can die, the thing you play for free comes in ready, and this only costs you 2, and it's a draw, so it replaces itself. This is a really good card for that reason. If it didn't have the draw on it, I would have seen this a lot less or played less of it. 2 Call the Weak, same purpose. You can trigger the Death Knell on your Herald. It also is a spot removal for the opponents, so you can get rid of their problematic cards that isn't directly damaging them because you're not choosing them and you don't have to pay deflect. They have to choose the card that they pick. Shadow's Call. Choose a friendly unit without temporary, give it temporary, draw 2. This is very similar to a combination of the last 2 cards you saw. You draw 2 cards and you get to kill your Herald with temporary, which triggers its Death Knell effect and drops a unit from your hand for free. Like, What a great card. What great synergy with this deck. Aurora Standard, Catalyst of Aeons. You gotta play this card because you need to see your ramp. Even if you don't see your ramp, you get the draw, which does happen very often in the late game. Something that comes up extremely often is seeing this card close to like 6, 7, 8 points. Definitely useful for that draw. A really annoying card that I saw and have tested with friends and have played around with playing this at 1 or at 3. I like it at 2 because I find I see it more often. When I saw it at 3, I feel like I saw it too much. And at 7 and 1 point, this doesn't cheat around any situations. You can't play Jace, so you have to play this raw for its total cost. The benefit, though, is that every turn you get units to just throw at stuff, and that can be really useful when you're culling or when you're killing things to draw. So you don't have to play as slow as Aurora while still maintaining your flinging units at things. This one's kind of spicy. It's relative to everything else. DJ, Divine Judgment. There's a world where you haven't seen this card yet. It's a 7 energy, 2 power spell. Each player chooses 2 units, 2 gear, 2 runes, and 2 cards in their hands, and they recycle everything else. This is a board wipe. This is a reset. This is a deck that can play under having 2 cards, and likely if you have 2 cards, those are 2 cards you're keeping. When you play this card, you're playing it closer to late game, you're playing it into Azir, you're playing it into decks that go wide, and who probably have out-tempoed you so that you can catch up. And last but not least, Dazzling Aurora. This card is enemy number 1 right now. If you don't know why, or you have never seen it or don't understand it, or you're just watching this profile because you're brand new to the game, Dazzling Aurora at the end. Dazzling Aurora is a gear that you can play, and at the end of your turn, it triggers where you reveal cards from the top of your main deck until you reveal a unit. Then you play that unit for free. Recycle the rest of the cards. So the reason why this is problematic right now is because there's a lot of big monsters like Elder Dragon that cost 12 and like 3 or 4 power, and you can cheat their entire cost by playing Dazzling Aurora on turn 3 and then getting an Elder Dragon out to pretty much wipe the board and potentially win you the game. Dazzling Aurora does amazing things for the game, and it creates a unique line for decks to be played. Decks that are complicated, decks that have big top end, decks that are just big monsters. Even my time in Atlanta, I played against a Volibear player who is probably watching this video, who won an entire game without Dazzling Aurora. Sometimes playing big monsters is fun and that's okay, and there's tons of really cool dragons and amazing creatures that Riftbound and Riot and League of Legends has to offer, and Dazzling Aurora gives them the opportunity to play those cards in these decks. The unfortunate part is that by Dazzling Aurora and Elder Dragon becoming very prominent, it kind of stifles the creativity that a lot of people can enjoy out of deck building, and kind of forcing them into a one streamlined path of Aurora Elder Dragon or Aurora Mind Splitter, and it creates a very toxic environment for the game state, where it's either you're playing Aurora to beat it, or you're playing against Aurora and you're trying to beat it, and there's nothing really else that you're worried about. I can see why there's a lot of problematic discourse about this card. I can see why it should have been banned maybe in the last one. Like, I look at Scrap Heap and I'm like, if they were going to ban Scrap Heap as a last resort, they could have banned Dazzling Aurora too. But I also fundamentally understand the need or want to have Dazzling Aurora be played, maybe even for a little while longer, even if they ban it later. So I guess we'll see. In a deck when you're going to play against other Aurora gamers, you're probably going to need one that steals their Aurora. Akshan does that for 4 and 2 power. This is a great card. You don't want to play more of it because you don't want to play more of Akshan because if you hit your Aurora on curve, you don't want Aurora to spit out an Akshan. You want to be able to play this by choice because you drew it or because you opened it. The third Sabotage, honestly, if you're into matchup that is blue or green or has anything like game 2 or 3 where they sided in more gear removal, you want to put this in. Problematic monsters or the mirror can definitely use Keeper's Verdict again. Their Elder is not protected by anything, just bounce it to the top of their deck. Salvage for Azir or the mirror. Azir has become a very problematic deck into the Aurora matchup. This deck doesn't suffer the same way that the standard Aurora, Sivir, Misfortune gamers do, but Salvage still helps. I mean, we just talked about gear destruction, right? Why not? The second flurry that we were talking about, this is super useful when you have Elder on the board. This is kind of useful when, in testing when they played Void Gate. and they're moving cards over to it. It was fine. Blood Money was great because you can sack units for gold and you get more gold if you kill your own, but if you kill theirs, it's kind of like a yellow gust. It's okay to just kill the first unit on swing if you find they're playing a super aggressive deck like Annie, or it can't be sprites, but it can be basically anything with a Poro. Like you're killing a Poro and making a gold out of it and you're stopping that on combat. You can put this in for that if you want to see more of this. Outside of that, you don't get to benefit from all the purple, so you get some extra gold for killing your own recruits, which isn't so terrible, to be honest. You get the point, conquer, then kill it. Not that bad. And that's pretty much the deck. My main camera died and I ran out of footage, so we're gonna cap this video off there. Shouts out to you guys. Thank you so much for watching these videos. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about Poppy and the future of Poppy, or if you have a Poppy over number you'd love to send my way, I'd love to meet you at an RQ and pick that up off of you. Shout out to my friends and family that test with me. Shout out to Veggies, master the Poppy way. I don't think I've mastered it. I think we're all still testing different things, and I think in a unique way I have found a little bit of spice and a little bit of flavor that maybe he doesn't agree with. There are other people who are performing with Poppy as well, and I think we're all kind of in the same boat. It just comes down to, like, are you going to play set, or can you play other orange and yellow monsters that seem useful, or are the ratios better or worse in certain things? I wanted to play Hidden Blade for so long, but I just didn't see the purpose of it outside of Cull. You know, like, is there a world where you can replace DJ with Hidden Blade, or can you play Rune Nation, or can you play other options? I think there's tons of things that are still on the bench for what works for Poppy, but this is a great base, and this is a great deck that you can build off of. So hopefully someone does it in Sydney, and we get to see that this weekend. But shouts out to everyone that's currently testing it and playing it, and good luck. And of course, in addition, the deck list is in the description, and the deck picture will be somewhere on screen, maybe right now while I'm talking. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.